Mantras of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, a new light shall break upon the earth, a light of truth and harmony. With my love and blessing, says our Divine Mother. Words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo from the collective works of our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Works of Sri Aurobindo. Other editions on Yoga, Tome 2. Topic: the triple transformation, psychic, spiritual and supramental. Section 4. Page 1. The triple transformation, psychic, spiritual and supramental. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says the fundamental realization of integral yoga, the fundamental realizations of this integral yoga are: first, the psychic change so that a complete devotion can be the main motive of the heart and the ruler of thought, life and action, in constant union with the Divine Mother and in her presence. Let me repeat, the first fundamental realization of integral yoga is the psychic change so that a complete devotion can be the main motive of the heart and the ruler of thought, life and action, in constant union with the Divine Mother and in her presence. The second is the descent of peace, power, light of the higher consciousness through the head and heart into the whole being, occupying the very cells of the body. The third is the perception of the one and divine infinitely everywhere, the Divine Mother everywhere, and living in that infinite consciousness. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the three things on which the realization has to be based. First, on a rising to a station above the mind and on the opening out of the cosmic consciousness. Second, on the psychic opening. And third, on the descent of the higher consciousness with its peace, light, force, ananda, into all the planes of the being down to the most physical. This has to be done by the workings of the Mother's force, aided by her aspiration. All this has to be done by the working of the Divine Mother's force, aided by your aspiration, devotion, and surrender. That is the path. The rest is a matter of the working out of these things, for which you have to have the faith in the Divine Mother's workings. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, when one speaks of the divine spark, one is thinking of the soul as a portion of the divine which has descended from above into the manifestation, rather than of something which has separated itself from the cosmos. It is the nature that has formed itself out of the cosmic forces, mind out of the cosmic mind, life of the cosmic life, body out of the cosmic matter. For the soul has three realizations. First, the realization of the psychic being and the consciousness as the divine element in the evolution. Second, the realization of the cosmic self, which is one in all. Third, the realization of the supreme divine, from which both individual and cosmos have come and of the individual being Jivatma as an eternal portion of the divine. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, psychization means the change of the lower nature, bringing right vision into the mind, right impulse and feeling into the vital, right moment and habit into the physical, all turned towards the divine, all based on love, adoration, bhakti. Finally, the vision and sense of the Divine Mother everywhere in all as well as in the heart, her force working in the being, faith, consecration, surrender. The spiritual change is the established descent of the peace, light, knowledge, power, bliss from above, the awareness of the self and the divine, and of a higher cosmic consciousness, and the change of the whole consciousness to that. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says the two feelings are both of them right. They indicate the two necessities of the sadhana. One is to go inward and open fully the connection between the psychic being and the outer nature. The other is to open upward to the divine peace, force, light, ananda above, to rise up into it and bring it down into the nature and the body. Neither of these two moments, the psychic and the spiritual, is complete without the other. If the spiritual ascent and descent are not made, if the spiritual ascent and the descent are not made, the spiritual transformation of the nature cannot happen. If the full psychic opening and connection is not made, the transformation cannot be complete. There is no incompatibility between the two movements. Some begin with the psychic first, others the spiritual first. Some carry on both together. The best way is to aspire for both and let the Divine Mother's force work it out according to the need and turn of the nature. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the psychic is the first of the true transformations necessary. If you have the psychic transformation, it facilitates immensely the other, the transformation of the ordinary human into the higher spiritual consciousness. Otherwise, one is likely to have either a slow and dull or exciting but perilous journey. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, I have never said anything about a transformation of the psychic. I have always written about psychic transformation of the nature, which is a very different matter. I have sometimes written of it as a psychization of the nature. The psychic is in the evolution part of the human being, its divine part. So, a psychization will not carry one beyond the present evolution, but will make the being ready to respond to all that comes from the divine or the higher nature and unwilling to respond to the asura, rakshasa, pishacha or animal in the being or to any resistance of the lower nature which stands in the way of the divine change. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, I have read your account of your sadhana. There is nothing to say, I think, for it is all right, except that the most important thing for you is to develop the psychic fire in the heart and the aspiration for the psychic being to come forward as the leader of the sadhana. When the psychic does so, it will show you the undetected ego knots of which you speak and loosen them or burn them in the psychic fire. This psychic development and the psychic change of mind, vital, and physical consciousness is of the utmost important because it makes safe and easy the descent of the higher consciousness and the spiritual transformation, without which the supramental must always remain far distant. Powers, etc., have their place, but a very minor one, so long as this is not done. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the soul, the psychic being, is in direct touch with the divine truth, but it is hidden in man by the mind, vital, and the physical nature. One may practice yoga, one may practice integral yoga and get illuminations in the mind and the reason. One may conquer power and luxuriate in all kinds of experiences in the vital. One may establish even surprising physical siddhis, but if the true soul power behind does not manifest, if the psychic nature does not come into the front, nothing genuine has been done. In this integral yoga, the psychic being is that which opens the rest of the nature to the true supramental light and finally to the supreme Ananda. Mind can only by itself to its higher reaches. Mind can open by itself to its own higher reaches. It can still itself and widen into the impersonal. It may too spiritualize itself in some kind of static liberation. Mind can open by itself to its own higher reaches. It can still itself and widen into the impersonal. It may too spiritualize itself in some kind of static liberation or nirvana. But the supramental cannot find a sufficient base in the spiritualized mind alone. If the inmost soul is awakened, if there is a new birth out of the mere mental, vital, and physical into the psychic consciousness, then this integral yoga can be done. Let me repeat, if the inmost soul is awakened, if there is a new birth out of the mere mental, vital, and physical into the psychic consciousness, then this integral yoga can be done. Otherwise, by the sole power of the mind or any other part, it is impossible. If there is a refusal of the psychic new birth, a refusal to become the child newborn from the mother, owing to attachment to intellectual knowledge or mental ideas or some vital desire, then there will be a failure in the sadhana. The psychic being is always there, but it is not felt because it is covered by the mind and vital. When it is no longer covered up, it is then said to be awake. When it is awake, it begins to take hold of the rest of the being, to influence it and change it, so that all may become the true expression of the inner soul. It is this change that is called the inner conversion. There can be no conversion without the awakening of the psychic being. In using the expression, the opening of the psychic, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo, I was thinking not of the ordinary psychic opening producing some amount of psychic as opposed to the vital love and bhakti, but of what is called the coming in front of the psychic. When that happens, one is aware of the psychic being with its simple, spontaneous self-giving and feels its increasing direct control, not merely a wheeled or half-wheeled influence over the mind, vital, and the physical. Especially, there is the psychic discernment which at once lights up the 1,000 emotional movements, vital pushes, physical habits, and leaves nothing there obscure, substituting the right moments for the wrong ones. It is this that is difficult and rare. More often, the discernment is mental, and it is the mind that tries to put it all in order. In that case, it is the descent of the higher consciousness through the mind that opens the psychic instead of the psychic opening directly.